President Muhammadu Buhari salutes Nigerian troops as the nation remember and appreciates the sacrifice of fallen heroes, just as past leaders sue for oneness of Nigeria. Plus, studio discussion on situation in the Gambia and Edo politics. This and more on Panorama today with me, Lydia Bassi. Thanks for joining us. Reports just reaching us say there was a reported incident of twin blasts at University of Maiduguri around 5 a.m. this morning. One of the suicide bombers detonated his explosion at a mosque near Gate 1 when people were observing their early morning prayer. The second one occurred around Gate 5 of the university. Rescue and security officials were at the scene and 17 injured victims were evacuated to the hospital. 2 persons and 2 suicide bombers confirmed dead, a total of 4 at the time of response. Head of Media and Public Relations of NEMA says 2 persons and the suicide bombers were confirmed dead as at the time of this report. Activities marking this year's Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration were rounded off this Sunday with the laying of wreaths at the cenotaph of the unknown soldier. President Muhammadu Buhari, who presided over the ceremony at the National Arcade, used the opportunity to have real-time communication with gallant Nigerian troops at different locations in the northeast and Liberia. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo has the details.
The Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration is set aside annually to remember the Nigerian fallen heroes who sacrificed their lives during the First and Second World Wars, the Civil War, and various peacekeeping operations so that peace will triumph over aggression and the country remains an indivisible entity and a force to reckon with amongst the Committee of Nations. This year's event in particular is significant as the nation still basks in the euphoria of the sack and destabilization of the Boko Haram insurgents by the military from Sambisa Forest, their major operation.
Please maintain the standard of discipline and efficiency.
The symbolic release of Patience for Unity and Peace of the sovereign Nigeria was also performed by President Muhammadu Buhari at the January 15 event commemorating the surrender of the Biafran troops, signaling the end of the civil war that sought to tear apart the unity of the country. From the National Arcade, Abuja, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Meanwhile, some past Nigerian leaders have insisted that remaining as an indivisible entity is a task that must be pursued by all. Timothy Yusuf reports that the leaders cautioned those agitating for the separation of the country to be wary of the danger of their action.
General Yakubu Gowon saw it all as the head of state from the beginning of Nigerian civil war to its end. He believes that the harrowing experience of the civil war is better imagined than experienced.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
General Olusegun Obasanjo and Ibrahim Babangida agree no less with the position of General Yakubu Gowon. They want Nigerians calling for the division of the country to exercise restraint and embrace dialogue.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
The leaders are also unanimous in their call for adequate recognition to the country's fallen heroes. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
The Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration was also observed in Yobe and Ogun states. Ruben Okala compiled the story.
From Damaturu, the Yobe state capital, Mustafa Yusuf Musa reports that the 2017 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration was observed with Governor Ibrahim Gaidam, the General Officer commanding the 3rd Division, Major General Peter Danke, and the Chairman, Yobe State Council of Chiefs, Alhaji Muhammad Idrissa, laying wreath on the cenotaph as mark of honor and respect to Nigerian fallen soldiers. Meanwhile, the Ogun State Governor, Ibekunle Amosun, has admonished Nigerians to promote virtues that will further enhance unity, peace, and integrity by appreciating the sacrifices of the armed forces, both the living and the dead. He gave the admonition at a special parade and wreath-laying ceremony for the Armed Forces Remembrance Day in Ogun State, as reported by Lekon Agbode. Ruben Okala, NTA News.
And now to other matters. ECOWAS leaders mediating on the political impasse in the Gambia have resolved to keep hope alive and continue pursuing efforts at ensuring smooth transfer of power through diplomacy before the tenure of President Yahya Jammeh elapses. This was at Bamako, Mali, when the leaders met on the situation in the Gambia on the sidelines of the Africa-France Summit. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu reports.
Before the meeting in Bamako, Mali, the ECOWAS mediation team led by President Muhammadu Buhari held crucial talks on Friday with the outgoing president of the Gambia, Yahya Jammeh, in Banjul. At a meeting which lasted about 2 hours, the ECOWAS leaders once again encouraged him to take the path of honor by respecting the wishes of the Gambian electorate, preserving the sanctity of the electoral process, and obeying the constitution. Talks were also held with the President-elect Adama Barrow, the Chief Justice of the Gambia, and the Independent Electoral Commission officials, but details were not made public. At the meeting in Bamako, in which President-elect Adama Barrow also attended, the ECOWAS leaders deliberated on the outcome of their interactions so far with the political actors in the Gambia and charted the way forward.
They have a consensus now that they're going to keep trying the diplomatic path up until the 18th of January, at which point they will take certain measures. I think that it's clear that if there isn't that he deems fit, so he will at least have that authority. So I think that's a very important development.
President Muhammadu Buhari has since returned to Abuja. Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
For more on the Gambia, I'm now being joined in the studio by a political analyst, Jide Ojo, to discuss on the political situation in that country and the recent Edo primaries. You're welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us as usual. Now, how will you react to the political crisis in Gambia?
It's quite unfortunate the way President Yahya Jammeh is carrying on. I think Africa has moved beyond this stage of, contesting elections in such a way as not to want to leave power, even when you have, by your own mouth, accepted defeat, considered defeat, called the president-elect, only for you to change your mind 1 week after doing all of that. And it's very typical of some African leaders. I think we have gone past this era of setitism, which President Yahya Jammeh is trying to give, the impression that he is trying to give the international community. But nevertheless, I'm very proud and happy that ECOWAS is taking the lead, exploring all of the options, diplomacy, military actions, sanctions, economic sanctions, and all of that. I think hopefully before Wednesday, he will get the message.
Yes, you just answered my second question, which was what the ECOWAS leaders are doing about it. Now, what are the implications of Yahya Jammeh's actions?
The implication is very grave, because if he's allowed to go scot-free, dictating when he was going to leave power or whether he's going to leave or he's not going to leave, then it will send the wrong signal to other African leaders who may want to sit tight. Yes, in Zimbabwe, in Kenya, 2007, 2008, there were diplomatic mediation to resolve the electoral logjam. But in this particular instance, all efforts have been made, diplomatic shuttles at the highest level. You can imagine our own president. Gambia is just like a local government in Nigeria. But President Muhammadu Buhari has left everything to embark on diplomatic shuttle, appealing to him. Look at Ellen Salif Johnson, who is like a mother, could have given birth to Yahya Jammeh, who is just 51. So every entreaty has been made to him. All appeals have been made to him. Nigeria has even offered him amnesty, you know, that, asylum, not amnesty, rather, asylum, that he should be allowed to come to Nigeria so that, and not only Nigeria, even Morocco Island has also given him asylum opportunity to come and live in the two countries. But he has rebuffed all entreaties, saying that he wants a judicial review of the process. Even if we take it by Nigerian standard, if you want judicial review does not mean stay of action. You can still leave power and pursue your case at the tribunal. Just imagine if President Goodluck Jonathan has done similar thing. What message will he have given? And there have been an election after that of Gambia in Ghana, barely a week after. And the incumbent president lost and considered defeat, and there have been a new president in Ghana. So why shouldn't he take that example? The African leaders even went to Ghana and to him, even as at last Friday, with former president of Ghana, who just stepped down, Mahama, to drive home the point that, look, I also lost election and I've left. So why shouldn't you? So the implication of his intransigence is very grave, not only on West Africa, but on the entire African continent.
Now, the president-elect is in Senegal till the 19th of this month. What would be your advice or appeal to him and the Gambian people?
The president-elect, good reason that he is being moved to safety in Senegal, because if you recall, about a week or thereabout ago, there was a rumor of his death in the social media, and everybody was panicking that if this were to be true, I mean, that means it's going to give the entire political scenario a very bad precedent. But we thank God that Adam Barrow is safe in Senegal, and the West Africa ECOWAS has said, look, we are fully behind you. We ensure that you are inaugurated willy-nilly as the Gambian people had voted. So it is expected that come this Thursday, it will be inaugurated, whether in Senegal or maybe in Gambia. And like our Minister of Foreign Affairs has said, he can then issue directive seeking assistance from ECOWAS on how to resolve the political logjam in his country, which is about what to do with Yahya Jammeh in case he still wants to stay put.
Good. Now back home. Primaries conducted in Edo State for House of Reps. What does it portend?
I read about the disputation by one of the aspirants that is not that the process was manipulated. But that's very typical of an average Nigerian politician. We are always all losers. We don't want to accept defeat, even when it is very glaring. If you look at the margin with which he lost, it's wide. And he said they didn't.
The exercise which took place at the Ikelebe Sports Arena in Auchi was monitored by the officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission.
The primary election, which was presided over by the Deputy Senate Leader, Bala Ibn Naala, commenced at about 12 noon with accreditation of delegates on the basis of their local government and voting simultaneously. The Deputy Whip of the Senate, Francis Alimihina, and the Deputy Governor of Edo State, Philip Shaibu, were on ground to cast their votes. One of the aspirants, Blessing Agbomere, who expressed displeasure over the process, staged a walkout while the exercise was still ongoing.
This election is not free, it's not fair, it's biased.
After the sorting and counting of votes, the chairman of the Electoral Committee declared Mr. Johnson Oguma as the candidate of the party with 334 votes.
I hereby certify that Honorable Johnson Oguma, having scored the highest number of lawful vote cast, is hereby declared winner.
I pray that this forthcoming election, by the grace of God, the victory that I so desire, that we will get it.
The Deputy Governor of the state, Philip Shaibu, and the state chairman of the party, Aslem Mujezwa, described the exercise as transparent.
It's going at the time where the issue of the budget will be discussed. So it should look deeply and peruse it very well to be sure that our constituency is adequately represented.
The beauty about this process is in its transparency.
The rules are clearly spelled out and the candidates have abided by the rules.
In Auchi, Victor Odion Acha, NTA News.
Still from Edo, a former special assistant on youth and student matters, Jude Imagwe, has won the PDP primaries to contest the Etsako federal constituency by-election. Yusuf Jimo reports.
The exercise was chaired by Prince Tony Omage with only one candidate vying for the ticket. The delegates eventually harmonized the process and unanimously adopted Mr. Jude Imagwe after the voting exercise in line with the constitution of the party. The chairman of the electoral committee declared the result after the exercise.
Our candidate for the PDP for the House of Reps in Etsako federal constituency is none other than Comrade Jude Imagwe.
In his assembly.
Let us leave us one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
How can we develop when we're always in crisis? Families have become refugees in their country. No matter our differences, show some understanding.
No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.
Nigeria, the only country we can train with remarkable potentials to excel. Let us believe in ourselves and change our attitude for the sake of our country and generations unborn. Let us revive our cultural values, which are our essence as a nation. Let us renew the spirit of patriotism and hope in our dear country. Do not take or give bribe. Be punctual always. No more African time. We can't expect to be global citizens and operate on African time. Join the queue. Insist that people are attended to on a first-come basis, no matter who they are or where they come from.
Nigeria, good people, great nation.
Welcome back. The Oni of Ife, Oba Adeye Ogunwusi, has called on Nigerians to realize that agriculture is now the nation's new oil. He has consequently expressed optimism in
ready to change the flag of this country. Let us go back to the fundamentals of this country, and the fundamentals of this country is green, white, green, and it stands for agriculture, peace, and agriculture.
Panelists at the lecture shared practical ideas and evidence-based approaches as they advocated commitment to all policies geared towards boosting agriculture on the part of government. Convener of the lecture and participants believe that well-implemented social policies, collective humanitarian efforts of like minds, and active participation of the people are the keys to reducing endemic poverty in the country. In Abuja, Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
And now sports. Ex-Super Falcon players appeal for more attention to be given to female footballers at the grassroots, as CAF says 16-team format stays. Plus, Australian Open serves off on Monday with Novak Djokovic